Hi, everybody. It's meteorologist Joe Cioffi here on this Saturday night, February 17th, at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. And we've got snow. And this has been a great example about how models work and how some of them don't work. We have seen, some major fails by some models and major successes by others. This has been quite an experience indeed. I just want to check outside my own window here, so just give me 1 second. Okay, good. I'm still snowing. I'm in central Long Island. I am just north of the Long Island Expressway, halfway out, and it basically cuts the island in half. The expressway does, and we actually briefly mixed with rain here where I am, and then changed back to snow after starting to snow. And we've been getting occasionally moderate snow here. But I have reports of places not that far from me that are on the south shore of Long Island that are getting mostly rain, especially as you go east. And there's more snow as you go west and north, in particular the north shore of Long Island, where the Weather Service had a winter storm warning up, but had advisories now up for the South Shore. Well, that actually has turned out to be a very good forecast. This was where the dividing line was. I mean, that's how tight this thing is. And there was a considerable amount of snow down through much of central New Jersey as well. William Huber, you have 2 inches at Miller Place. Super Sienna, where are you? An inch and a half. You got to tell me where you are. Garrow Vestas, you finally got your Passaic County snow, so that's good to hear. I'm happy that you got something that actually outperformed for your area up in northwestern New Jersey. I'm going to bring up the radar right now so you can see. This is the 10 o'clock Eastern Time radar, and let's have at it here. I'll bring it up to the top. I'll leave myself up in the corner. And you can see the concentration of the radar echoes right along the coast. The snow has ended across south central, and it is about to end in southeastern Pennsylvania. We are seeing the snow just about ending in northwestern New Jersey, but it's still snowing pretty hard across northeastern New Jersey, over northern areas of New York City, across the north shore of Long Island, in through the Hudson Valley and through southwestern Connecticut. Some of these heavier echoes that are along the central New Jersey coast may translate up into Long Island. So I may get another burst of solid moderate, or perhaps even briefly go to heavy snow at some point from now till about midnight or so. This is all moving along, by the way, at a very, very fast clip. This is not fooling around here. The low that's developing off the Delaware coast. One of the things that's happened, we were talking the last couple of days about, two very important factors here. One was the fact that the low itself needing to intensify in order to basically pinch off the warm air from coming in from off the ocean. And it did exactly that. It cut it off. And then the other issue was, where was that rain snow line going to stop in terms of moving northward? And one of the things that's happened there with that is that it's only been able to get so far north, and in some cases actually collapsed back to the southeast. So we'll probably see some areas, you might see some areas that turn to rain go back to snow, but the vast majority of the area right now is snowing. So the model winners here, okay, big model winner was the NAM model. And the other model winner today was which hasn't been a winner for a long, long time, is the HRRR model. Because I've been watching this all day long today, and one of the things that the HRRR model did pretty much all day was show that rain snow line getting to about the south shore of Long Island, and that's it. Here's the latest HRRR model. I'll bring it up to, it's now 10 o'clock. This model comes out once an hour, and it runs and it runs only out to 18 hours. So it's very, very short range. And you can see that it has the vast majority of the area in snow, even down into central and parts of southwestern New Jersey. The rain line gets to about the south shore of Long Island between now and 1 a.m. And by then, the low is gone. I mean, the snow is going to be ending across New Jersey in the next couple of hours, and then it's going to end over Long Island and Connecticut between 1 and 2 a.m. There is one last burst that's coming down from an area that's expanding on the radar to the north in upstate New York. That's going to be moving through the Albany area shortly, and is the reason why the Boston office actually extended winter storm warnings up for Massachusetts and for all of Massachusetts rather than just the southeastern part. And by 7 a.m., the snow is all over with, except in and around the Boston area. I'll put the accumulations on the snow map. If I can just see here it is, total snowfall. So remember, this is not going to show the snow that's already on the ground. So if you've got snow on the ground and you look at this map, just kind of add this to whatever your totals are and maybe subtract an inch or so because we're 2 hours into this. But certainly it's producing some 4-inch plus amounts where it hasn't started snowing yet in southeastern New England. So there's going to be a band of 4 to 5 inches according to the HRRR when this is all said and done, and even a few inches up in the Albany area. And there'll probably be some additional amounts that are going to fall into southwestern Connecticut before this is all said and done. So this is going to, when this is all over with, I'm going to be curious to look at all the accumulation numbers to see how this finished. The loser models were the global models. The GFS in particular, I think we can easily say was the biggest loser in all of this. It had rain well up into southeastern New York, and clearly that is not the case. It had rain just about everywhere in New Jersey, and that's not the case. The European and the Canadian, perhaps we could say that those models did a bit better with this, but not a whole lot better. The European was too far north with the rain snow line. And, this was my map, and it looks like, I mean, from my standpoint, I'm not going to fare too badly. I think I did better in the areas to the south. I under forecasted for areas to the north. Maybe a 4 to 8 inch might have worked a lot better than a 3 to 5 here, and up into southern Connecticut. Long Island, I got to wait and see how the numbers turn out, because this could be one of those weird cases where there'll be areas on the North Shore that wind up with 4 or 5 inches before this is all said and done, and areas on the South Shore that run to less than a slushy inch. But if you've been following this all this week, you know what a tough forecast we had all along. This was a very, very difficult situation when you're dealing with just marginal cold air, barely enough cold air to make snow. But sometimes that's all you need. You just get just enough, and there you have it. It is a nice little surprise in a god-awful pattern, by the way, a pattern that you would never you would rarely get to see a snow event, a setup for one, and here you have it. Now, we have also a lot of weather going on in the Pacific Northwest. We actually have winter weather advisories up and down the coast of the Pacific Northwest, all the way down into Northern California. And we've got winter storm warnings up just inland of the coast on up through the state of Washington, and then going eastward into the northern Rockies, into northern Montana, a peppering of winter weather advisories and winter storm watches and warnings up through the northern and even into the central Rockies, advisories up for the northernmost plains, and a winter storm watch up for northern Minnesota as the next weather system gets underway. So winter is far from done here, folks. It's just kind of taking a bit of a different form. We'll take a look at what the weather models did for the longer haul. And, we are going to be going into a blocking pattern over the next 2 weeks. Veronica Bazanka, I know you're not feeling well. Hello back, and please feel better. You're in sick bay, and you guys have had a tough week. I'm I'm with you. Okay, you know, all the prayers and light your way to get healthy and and feel better. Okay, so let me just run up to the GFS and we'll take a look at where we're going, because now we're going into a springtime pattern for this week. We're going to warm up here in the eastern part of the United States. No question about it. We'll put the surface map on and show you. So there's our departed storm. I jumped to Sunday afternoon. There's no real cold air behind this. So it's going to warm up tomorrow, and it's going to warm up as we go into, especially Tuesday and Wednesday. This big warm front's going to pass by Monday night. It's going to sit up way up to the north of upstate New York into southern Canada. Low pressure in Missouri is going to be running up toward the Great Lakes. You can see where the snow is, and even some ice across parts of Wisconsin. That low is going to run up just to the west of the St. Lawrence Valley, so it'll still be warm here on Wednesday. We'll get a cold front coming through here later on Wednesday, and there's some leftover precip with that on Thursday. But the cold air that's behind this gets modified. The bulk of it is going to go by to our north. We're going to get some of that cooling. Temperatures will come back down closer to normal, but it isn't going to be especially cold. We're going to have to wait for this whole blocking pattern to get underway, and that's probably going to take another week and a half. Next weekend, we've got a low that runs to the Great Lakes with a wave that follows on a cold front. And then after that, it turns, this is not a strong shot of cold air, but not a weak one that comes in for the last few days of February. You start to see some action setting up in the west. Let me just show you on the upper air where we're going when we're talking about this blocking pattern. If you watch the video from earlier, we discussed this, but this is the upper air at day 11. And when you see a parade of upper lows sitting across the Atlantic north of 40 degrees north, that's what a block does. The jet stream in the Atlantic is way to the south of normal. It's all the way down to 20 degrees north. I mean, that's amazingly far south. You can see where the purplish, the brown and the purplish area over Greenland, that's the Greenland block coming over the top, okay? This is now at March 1st, so the atmosphere is going to be doing a lot of moving around, and we'll get into this blocking pattern on March 1st. Deep trough in the west, but because you've got these upper lows offshore, the ridge in the east kind of moves westward, so it doesn't really pop up along the east coast, so there will be some colder air coming into the east. And at some point, what we have to watch for here into the first part of March, that there might be some energy that will try and undercut underneath the block. You see it here. I'll run it back for you again. The GFS has been doing this for a couple of days now, on and off. But you see that energy in the west gets ejected eastward. Part of it gets ejected eastward. Part of it drops back into the Gulf of Alaska. But that energy that gets ejected eastward can't really lift up into Canada because of the blocking situation with the higher pressures there. So it just kind of gets forced to the east. That's a fair, I don't know if it's going to actually look like this, but this is something, this is how you can get into problems in the long range under blocking patterns, because you get weird things start to happen in the upper air. Weird in the sense that, not that it's never happened before, it has, it just doesn't happen very often, so you really don't get to see it. So the blocking is going to come. It will probably, considering the fact that we were able to get a surprise in a situation like this today, where we had just marginal cold air at best, if you think winter is over yet, think again. Because if under that blocking pattern, I would imagine that something is going to try to happen as we get into the first couple of weeks of the month of March. So don't give up yet if you're waiting for that one storm. Garo Vestas has waited all winter for this snowfall up in Passaic County, and he got it. Haravora Marble Races in Hayworth. I don't know where that is. 6 to 7 inches. What state is that in? If you could tell me that, I'd appreciate it. Earl Warren is plowing in Rockland County. The GFS has had its moments, okay? Doug Crum, I would agree with you on that, but on this, it was not good. And, you know, I was discussing with my colleagues earlier this week that, you know, this would be a situation where the NAM should have outperformed. So it was good to see that the NAM model did get this. I'm sorry, always smiling. You had an earthquake in County Wexford today in the UK, 4.4. Wow. I'm guessing there wasn't any damage, but I'm sure people did feel it. So be safe there, always smiling for sure. And by the way, you folks in Europe, I showed it earlier. You've got cold air swing coming in from the east, from Siberia, that's going to be backing westward. So you've got an interesting pattern there yourself with the developing east-based block over Scandinavia. Patricia Owens has closer to 9 inches where she is. Amazing. There are some hefty amounts. Central PA, Anthony Orr, radar having issues picking up snowfall in the mountains. Usually does. Okay, Hirsch Vora, you're in northeast New Jersey. I'm not surprised. You're in an area where the radar was concentrated there for a little while. David Fuller, yeah, I saw those pictures of the mammatus clouds. It probably was a sign of some convective activity that was going to develop, and as you saw on the radar, that certainly seemed to be evident right now in central New Jersey. This storm is living up to what was advertised. Stephen Franco in Oakdale. I'm sorry. Here we go. I'm trying to find your previous comment, Stephen. I'm assuming you don't have too much in Oakdale. You're down on the South Shore, but come back. If you come up toward the North Shore, once you get to the expressway and go north, you're going to find snow on the ground and snow even on the main roads. By the way, what happens in December, winter remembers. Well, yeah, it seems. East Bergen 4.5. Just decoding in Oakdale. Not a surprise, but I'm assuming you're snowing there now. So, that's some of the cold air, coming back in on the backside. So, hooray for the NAM. Did very well on this. The GFS gets the big thumbs down. Did not do well on this at all. And in the meantime, I am going to go and enjoy myself and go outside in the snow for a little bit. So everybody have a great and safe evening. It'll snow for a little while longer, and then get ready for the warm-up. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll wrap all this up, and we'll look forward to whatever the weather patterns have to give us looking ahead. Again, that blocking pattern is well advertised by the models. It is going to happen, even despite the doubters out there. What the implications are, that is the big mystery, and that's part of the fun of being here in the world of weather. Website posts on meteorologistjoecioffi.com. You can check me out also on Facebook. I just did a live stream on Facebook as well. So this was the second one tonight, and now, again, going to go outside and enjoy the snow for a little bit. Have a great evening, folks. We'll see you tomorrow.